Hi, Rich Leiter here, and welcome to my channel, The Naked Booktuber. So I posted a video about 3 weeks ago of my copy of a painting by Lievens of, I think it's called Charles Lewis with his tutor, being tutored. And I got to like 69 people who viewed that video, which surprised me. So anyway, for that reason, I decided to make another quick video. I revised the painting again. I changed the background completely, and I like this one better. It's a more striking background than the one I had before. And a couple of things that I'm discovering about painting. Painting is really, it's a very subtle thing, and it's not at all like acrylic. It's there's a lot more to learn about it than there is to learn about acrylic. For one thing, I'm finally beginning to loosen up enough to paint thicker. I mean, I understand from watching other YouTube videos that this is a very, very common problem that beginning oil painters have, that they use very, very little oil paint, which is exactly what I did, partly because it's expensive. You don't want to waste it. But I painted enough paintings, and I've done enough forays into oil painting now that I feel relaxed enough to use more paint on the palette and on the painting. I mean, you want people to know, I want people to know that this is a painting. I don't want to make my brush strokes invisible. I want people to sort of get some sense of the texture of the painting, and it's a lot more fun, a lot more pleasurable for me to do that. So you'll notice that there's like a semicircle around the tutor. It's a yellow ochre semicircle, and what I did is I sort of outlined the tutor's head right above his little cap. I made the yellow ochre a little darker. I added green to it, and also on the top part of the semicircle. I don't know if you can see it here, but I put a good deal of paint on it, so there is some texture there. You can see that. And also in the background, the white combination of white and ultramarine blue. It's pretty thick. I mean, it's going to take me quite a while for this to dry, especially since it's winter now and the weather is so cool. So I did that also. And it just sort of pops for me much more. It's completely. I mean, the background is completely different than the original painting. I mean, the man and the boy, the tutor and the young prince, they're basically very faithful. But like I said, I have a lot of trouble with dark backgrounds. You know, when I look at the original painting at the Getty Museum, I mean, the tutor's robe is dark, black, blue, dark blue, whatever the hell it is. And the background is dark also, and when I do it, the whole thing looks like a dark mess. So I decide not to do that. That's all. I mean, I'm not going to struggle with it. I mean, sometimes I can paint a painting. I would try to do a copy of the painting, and it actually looks very, very similar to the original painting. I did a painting of Otto Dix's wife, Martha, and it's very, very faithful to the original. I didn't have to do anything crazy in it. Sometimes it just happens, but most of the time when I try to copy, something is off from the original, and I just can't pull it off, so I just sort of go on my own and do whatever I need to do to make the painting look visually pleasing. I mean, I'm not here, as I've said many times before, I'm not here to try to do an exact duplicate of the painting I'm trying to copy. I mean, I'm not trying to be a forger. I'm not trying to slip this painting into the Getty Museum and take the original. You know, all I'm trying to do is hone my drawing and painting skills, and at the same time, make the painting visually pleasing. I mean, what do I care if the painting is seems to be faithful to a reproduction on a computer that I'm trying to copy? If it looks ordinary and mediocre, I'd rather have something like this that looks that pops. Now, I got the idea of this semicircle from, originally in the original painting, in the tutor is sitting in a very, very large chair. You can just sort of see the arms of the chair on either side of his shoulders. And so I figured I want to have something there. I mean, there's just too much empty space above the tutor's hat, to leave empty. I had to fill it in somehow. And I came up with some kind of a chair. It looks like a rattan chair now, but he definitely is sitting on some kind of a chair or something. And the other thing I did is, you notice the gold chain that the tutor is wearing. Well, that's yellow ochre, and it's got these little green flecks, and I sort of mirrored it with the chair where the the chain that he's wearing. So I mirrored it in the actual seat. It's the same yellow ochre with a little bit of green there. So I did that. And also, I tried not to be too crazy with the background. I don't know if you will agree with me or not, but I want the focus of the picture to be on the tutor and on the young prince. I don't want to have the background be completely crazy and busy with all sorts of colors, which I tend to do a lot. So I did try to restrain myself from going crazy so that the viewer isn't distracted from the two figures. And I think I did it, and it surprised me. It took me a while to get this color combination. Basically, this is an earth color kind of painting. There aren't any primary colors in it. There's no bright red in this painting. There's no red at all, basically, except for a little bit on the tutor's chain. And it just hit me that the prince's robes are kind of an earth color. The folds are earthy. I think I use yellow ochre also for a different kind of yellow ochre with green in it for the robes. So that's earthy, and you have this very, very just dark black, or it's actually phthalo blue, mostly an ultramarine blue mass of the tutor's outfit. And I figured, what can I do for the background? And this yellow ochre background and this I guess you call it like a Venetian red, that brick red here. It's also an earth color. And of course, the earth color goes very well with the far background of the yellow ochre with little of the titanium white with little flecks of ultramarine blue, and it goes very well with the Venetian red. I actually didn't use Venetian red. I just used red with, I think, several colors to sort of give it this this Venetian red look. But I may actually buy some Venetian red paint, which I find very beautiful, from Rublev, and do that Venetian red in the actual Venetian red paint color when this dries a bit. I can't do it now because it's so thick and so wet. But the whole painting really works for me because it's all done in muted earth colors. And to me, anyway, the two figures stand out. I didn't do anything crazy with with the big tome here. I was thinking of putting, different colors in, all sorts of crazy colors, or even just having a few little lines of phthalo blue to fill in, to show that there's script there. I didn't even want to do that and distract the reader from the two figures. I think it's a very, very much more powerful painting now than my first attempt at it. And I'm going to revise. Like I say, I'm just going to touch up the Venetian red, brick red color a bit when it dries. I'm going to make these little ornaments on the Venetian red a little bit brighter white. I can't do it now because it's so thick that if I try to put white paint on it, it's not gonna take. And also there's like little ultramarine blue lines inside of these spiky ornaments. I'm gonna wait for it to dry. I'll bet about a week, I guess it should be dry enough for me to do that. I might leave it the way it is, but I think I'm gonna do that. But even so, even the way it is now, it's very powerful. I mean, I know. Right away when I'm struggling to paint, and by the way, it took me a long time to get this color combination of the yellow ochre, chair in the background. Oh, I did all sorts of different combinations. I had a semicircle, but it was just, I was just groping, and I just gave up trying to be formulaic, and I just sort of mixed colors on the palette until I found something that popped. It took me a long while. I worked on this revision for about 6 hours last night. And that's the key to this. Muted earth colors. And I've never done that before. I never really have a complete painting with muted earth colors. If you'll notice, like I say, there's no red there. There's no primary yellow. So and I knew right away when I had this combination, I knew right away that this was it. Immediately, that was it. I knew it was finished when I did that. And that's a great feeling to have. I mean, I don't get that feeling often. So there's that. Another technical aspect I'm learning about painting is now I did several videos on oil painting, and I was really into agonizing about should I do my ground in an oil ground so that the paint, the linseed oil, the medium isn't absorbed by the ground. I was agonizing about that. I did several paintings. Most of the paintings I did were with an oil ground. And now I'm coming to the conclusion that it's not that big a deal. For this painting, I think for this painting I did use an oil ground actually. But what I did was I got myself Liquitex Professional white gesso, which is the best, that in golden. I haven't used it yet, but it's supposed to be very thick and less absorbent. I know there's a teacher and a painter, an artist that I follow on the internet. I think his name is Luis. Oh God, I forgot his last name. He's in Puerto Rico, and he talks a lot about old master techniques, about grounds of painting, about grinding your own paints and original pigments. He's wonderful. Luis Barrero, I think his name is. He's one of the few people I've seen who does copies of old masters, which are just killer. They're wonderful, They're not like these schlock copies you see from these 30-something-year-old would-be painters on YouTube who just want to get an audience and they do a really shitty copy of some master painting. This guy, Luis, he does a wonderful copy of Rembrandt's, one of Rembrandt's self-portraits. He did a wonderful copy, I mean, unbelievable, of Vermeer's The Girl with the Pearl Earring. He did a copy of a boy in one of El Greco's paintings, and he did a copy of Goya, and all of these look wonderful. I'm so impressed by it. And he didn't do an underpainting either for any of these, which goes to show you, I guess, you don't need to underpaint if you don't want to. I do. I use that as a crutch, but you don't have to. There's another guy also, one other guy. He's a Russian. I think his name is Vologov. And he did a copy, not a copy, he did a Rembrandt self-portrait in the style of Rembrandt. And also, this is an unbelievable copy. Unbelievable. This is far, far above and beyond anything that I've seen on the internet. So these two guys are great. Now, why am I saying this? Why am I saying this? Yes. Oh, yes. So Luis Barrero, the first fellow I mentioned, excuse me. He, although he, talks about rabbit skin glue on panels and all the old master techniques, he says if you're not using that on a panel or whatever, he recommends Liquitex Professional Gesso. That's what he uses. So I figured, let me give that a try. And in addition to that, what I'm also doing is I bought some Liquitex matte, not gloss, matte medium. I understand, listening to some golden videos, that if you try to seal your ground with a excuse me, recovering from a cold. If you try to seal your ground, your gesso acrylic ground with a gloss medium, so it doesn't sink in, there may be an adhesion issue. The oil paint may not, it's too slick, it may not stick. So they recommend, if you're going to do that, to use a matte medium. And that's what I've been using for a couple of paintings. So I'm probably, the next couple of paintings, I'm probably just going to use this new Liquitex Professional Gesso and see if that absorbs any paint. And I'm going to do some with the gesso, and I'm going to add the Liquitex matte medium. And that should really stop any absorption of the oil paint at all. It should be a very brilliant color. And that way I also don't have to fuss with Gamblin or Winsor Newton oil primer, which stink like hell, and they got solvents in them, and I have to do them outside. I just don't want to do that. I'm gonna try that. So that's so much for the technical aspect of the painting. Just two more things here. So I've noticed also that sometimes the reason that my paintings fail is not because I'm using the wrong color, but because of a compositional issue. For instance, like for the background here, I might, very often I'll do something crazy, or I'll try to really, dazzle the viewer with all these different colors, and all that does excuse me, all that does is distract the viewer from the focus of the painting. And like I say, I restrained myself from doing that this time. As other people have said, if you have color, bright, high chroma color spattered all over a painting, it's almost the same thing as having no color on the painting, because the eye just doesn't know where to look. It's not focused. So I'm more cognizant of the fact that I have to tone down certain areas of the painting so that other areas can come through. It's a very simple common sense thing, but it's been very hard for me to learn that. And the last thing I wanted to mention is color. Now, color is very mysterious. I don't understand color. I don't think anybody understands color. I mean, yes, you have your warm colors and your cool colors and your neutral colors, and you got your color wheel. You got all this crap that they teach you at art school, But that's just so basic and so threadbare. The fact of the matter is, I'm learning myself that different colors go together that you never would have expected would go together. For instance, the border of the yellow ochre semicircle here, right up there, this border here, it's a yellow ochre. Well, let me see if I can get my hand there. That border around here, it's yellow ochre with a little green, right? And right on top of it, I got this like brick Venetian red color. And I didn't think that they would really go together, but they go together wonderfully. I just find it's not something that you can it's not like a mathematical thing, color. It's just very mysterious. Sometimes two colors that you would never think go together. You just don't know why. It's a mysterious thing. Sometimes part of it's due to the texture, the way the light hits it with the texture. It's just completely unpredictable. And I found this to be one of the few mysteries that life holds. You know, it's one of the few miracles of life, color. You know, people are always thinking of miracles in terms of, you know, God being some kind of glorified Houdini who pulls rabbits out of a hat. You know, the burning bush and Moses, Jesus walking on the water, feeding the multitude with a few loaves of bread. They need to have this kind of Houdini-like a miracle. And they don't realize that there are other miracles that aren't religious. Beethoven composed music when he was deaf, and he composed his finest music when he was deaf. That's a miracle. But I guess that's not as big a miracle for a lot of people as a burning bush is. Color is a miracle. We see color every single day. Why do certain colors go together when you never would have thought they would? Well, I guess if you don't paint, if you have no interest in painting at all this is going to be lost on you. It is lost on you. And so people need much more showy miracles in life. And I always just get such a kick out of seeing colors that I thought would work together that don't. And other colors that I never would have thought would work together, which do. I painted a copy of a painting by Otto Dix. It's his copy of his wife, Martha. And the copy has kind of an orangey background. And Martha's outfit is kind of yellow ochre. And I would have never, ever thought in a million years that the orange background would work with Martha's yellow ochre dress. It would never even have occurred to me to do that. And Dix, it did. For Otto Dix. He did it, and it worked. And when I copied it, it also worked. That's a real surprise for me. In a day that I have, which is filled with total predictability, paying the same fucking bills every fucking day, listening to the same people say the same hackneyed, predictable things every fucking day, I look at color and I say, thank God, there's one thing in my day which sometimes is not predictable. And that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Thanks.